Hello and welcome. I'm Kamla. My guest today is Sukhis Singh, who is a former teacher turned cook turned business person. Sukhi, as she's known, is the head of a multi-million-dollar food company that is located in Hayward in the East Bay here in the Bay Area. Welcome to the show. Today, your company is how big?
Our company, we have about 120 people on the
So from
workforce.
a person, from a 4 people or 5 people company, you're
now
you're
into 120 people.
And now today, every member of your family is on board.
Yes.
Your husband is running the books.
I had to blackmail my husband to leave his business. He had a dry cleaning valet service for hotels over here in the Bay Area.
So you both were very determined to have some kind of a home, small business.
Yeah, when we came here, we decided we weren't going to work for anybody.
So small business was the way to go. So his valet business was doing well?
Very well.
Okay.
He was doing very well. And
why did he give that up?
Because I said, either you sell yours or I'm going to sell mine. I can't be everything in this business.
And then what happened?
So he sold it. Because what was because that was limited to the Bay Area.
Where
could you grow with it?
You had
that business was not going to grow any more than it was.
So if your business had grown, had you already gotten into Costco and Whole Foods?
We had started doing a little bit with Costco. They had come to us for samosas and naans. That was our first step into Costco. And then we had food service. We used to, another one of the things that happened with no reason, no explanation, somebody called me from Hewlett Packard, Palo Alto, and said, I need a tandoor. And so I said, so who gave you my name? I don't have a tandoor. At that time, we were not doing naans or anything. And she said, I don't know, somebody gave me your name and said, here's a number, call her, she might have a tandoor. So I said, I don't have a tandoor, but I think I can organize one for you. But what do you do there? So I said, why do you need one? She said, I'm a food service manager and I want to serve Indian food. And I want to have a live tandoor here that day. So it aroused my curiosity and I said, so can I come and see what you're doing? So she said, sure. So I came down to Palo Alto.
You're a good salesperson.
I think so. I should be.
So you just didn't give her the tandoor. You said, can I come and take a look?
Yeah, I was going to give it to her anyway.
No, I'm not saying you weren't going to, but you wanted to see what she was. Yeah.
And I came there and I saw this lady. She's a food service manager managing this big cafeteria serving 800 to 2,000 meals. And she's on the brazier cooking curry. I said, you shouldn't be doing this. I'll give you something that your $8 an hour employee can cook it and you can manage. She got excited. I went and showed her my products and then she said, I need more because I can't just have 3 products for this thing. Overnight I wouldn't say overnight, but within a month, I'd created 6 more products for her so that she could just throw this, give basic recipes and people would be able to cook the food for her.
So you lucked out. You had covered the farmers market was your way into our stomach and our hearts.
That's true.
And then you had the enterprise way.
Yeah.
And then your kids join you.
Then my kids joined me later.
Okay.
Much later. At this time, they were all working part-time for me in the evenings and weekends doing demos in farmers markets.
With the kids coming, it looks like your business underwent a change because one of your daughters worked in logistics, the other is a salesperson, and your son
is also sales.
Is sales. And so what have they brought to the table that has helped your company grow?
They brought all the modern way of work, of thinking, of growth. I have now become like the R&D person. They will come and say, Mom, we need a product like this. And the rest of them doing sales, programs and managing it, and that's all this thing. It is basically because everybody got together and they brought to it. When my son had first got out of college, he said, Mom, I'm only worth an $8 an hour employee to you at this point. I need to go and learn more from outside and then bring it back to the business, which he did. My daughter was first with Ariba, then went on to eBay. And same thing, they got this exposure to the world and how things are done. And they came back and all the IT part of it is theirs, all their analysis of sales and all they do. So the growth really came.
And you just put food on the table.
I just put food on the table.
Okay. So we have something called Nanwich here, which is, it looks like you're giving the Earl of Sandwich a run for his money. Now, is that your creation, the Nanwich?
Yes. And it was an offshoot of the farmers markets. We would send naans to the markets and they would not always all sell. And they would come back and the next day we had to send fresh naans. So I just started cutting them up into 4 pieces and making sandwiches out of it and freezing it and then selling it to the stores. So I came up with the name Nanwich.
So this is a frozen
Nanwich now.
Nanwich, and this is available in Costco. And
No, yeah, in the Bay Area, it's available in Costco right now for a short run. But otherwise, it's in Whole Foods. All the upscale grocery stores have got the Nanwich.
So today, where are your products available? Are they available throughout the U.S. or just?
Basically, yes. In Whole Foods, yes, all over the U.S. Then, local areas like in North Carolina, you have Harris Teeter, you have Fresh Market, you have Earthware, you've got Vitamin Cottage. Lots of the grocery stores. And again, Sanjog has more of an idea of how many stores.
That's
I just created, yeah.
Okay.
Just create. And then Costco, we are in about 8 regions. And Costco works like commitments. You know, you can go and sell into them. They'll say, we'll buy 50,000 units of this. They go on a rotation basis. So today, tikka masala might be in, and then during Christmas, it'll be out. They'll make place for Christmas platters and stuff. And then next year again, they'll call back for it. That's the way they work.
And we got to taste something new today.
Yes.
We got, it's a product that you're going to be launching.
Yes, it goes into Costco on the 1st of November.
And that is, for want of a better word, I'm going to call it a lentil donut, a salty lentil donut.
Basically it is, yeah.
It is. So what does it take for a product to be born in your kitchen and then be available at our tables? What is the process like for you?
Well, first we try out the recipe and do the testing amongst us all, which is the flavor profile which fits. A lot of times we start sending it out to the farmers markets and see which one works. That's a testing ground a lot of times. And then after that, once it's felt, okay, this has a good market out there, people like this flavor. Then we go back to the drawing table and figure out the costing, and because farmers markets, you're going directly to your customers, so costing is not that important. I mean, basically now it's part of my DNA that I can only produce food which costs so much. But final costing is done, and then we see how good of a product that can we give in the retail. And then packaging is designed. My son is responsible for that. Flavor testing, my husband and the whole family just goes through it. And then all the office staff, which is a mixed crowd, they get to taste it, give us their input, what they think about it. And our customer testing base is basically the farmers markets.
Farmers market is still your basis.
Oh yeah, yeah. We try out every new product over there. But this one, like the Costco, the appetizer platter, this hasn't gone out. This the buyer asked for appetizer platter. We just created the product.
Just in time for the festival season?
That's what, yeah. This has been on the books. I mean, he approved this like 3 months ago. But the launch time was going to be November.
November.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you able to share what your revenue was for last year?
It was around, what was it, 13 or 14 million? 13.
Which is you've come a long way from being 70,000 minus.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the ethnic food market is about 3 billion according to Mintel, which does analysis of the ethnic food market. So you're not too bad then, because the Indian food is supposed to be about 70 to 80 million.
Yes.
So who is your?
I am trusting your statistics. I don't know.
Well, that's what my research showed. Okay. Again, these numbers could be wrong, but reportedly.
But it's the fastest growing space of ethnic food. Okay. So being a small section, it's growing very fast.
Okay. And who is your competition in this space?
We have competition. We are competition to them. I mean, Deep Foods is very big. But
Deep Foods is also in Hayward?
No, they are in New Jersey.
Okay.
But they are mainly they started off in the Indian market. We never touched the Indian market. We went to mainstream from day one. And then there's another company which is out in New York.
Spice.
It's called Zykas.
Zykas.
Okay.
And
so they, again, they are competition in certain areas. Not in all of them. They don't do packaged frozen stuff. They do only refrigerated, and it is limited around their space over there. But they are getting into food service, which is our space as well.
If somebody was to say, what does Sukhi do? How would you describe?
We bring good Indian food to the mainstream table. And we present it to people. It's also we're very careful about our nutrition facts, and that the sodium should be within limits and our fat content should be, and it's very clean. There are no preservatives. We have my son who is the conscious of the company. I call him
he's the ethics officer.
So everything has to be tested for gluten. Everything has to be tested for, nothing wrong can go in. We were using a dough conditioner years ago in our naans and our bread, which had something called L-cysteine in it. And, gradually and he sat down one day filling up paperwork for somebody and he said, Mom, this has got L-cysteine, you got to stop. I said, I can't stop, it's what the product is. But we had to stop. So he's very, very into produces. If our core values are that we are clean and that we give good food to people, we cannot do this. It doesn't matter what, like for example, our oil. It is expeller-blessed oil, and we can keep giving corn oil to Costco and stuff. They don't have any restrictions of that. But one thing, it's too much of attention to handle it. So all our food is cooked in expeller-blessed canola oil.
And what is that?
It's clean. It's not. There are no chemicals put in cleaning it, and the yield is much less than when you clean the oil with chemicals and stuff. But then it gets all the stuff and bad stuff into oil. So corn oil is not. It doesn't really have that value, food value. It's not considered. One thing is you can't find non-GMO corn in the country very much. So you don't know what's going in. So corn oil is kind of prohibited. You can't use that. You can use palm oil, you can use canola oil. So just as a general it brings up the cost of running our business, and the net profit's about $4,000 a month. But that's something that we've just taken. This is going to be it. It's going to be clean. Our bread, our flour that we use is all unbleached. And every ingredient that gets into our system has first to be tested for everything before we use it.
And you must be very happy. You made it to Dr. Oz's food list.
Yes, we were lucky.
How did that happen?
Sanjog, my daughter, is in charge of all this. So she sent them samples. And I guess they picked it up and they wrote about it.
You've come a long way in your 20 years.
We have been very lucky. And, there's again a saying in our country that 1 and 1 is not 2, it's 11. So that's the way it worked. 1 and 1. My husband came in, we became 11. Then my son joined, became 111. That's the way it goes. In fact, when I started off, and a few years later, somebody came and offered on the business. And they were giving us a good amount of money, and I was also going to get a job with them. And I just set up my kitchen in San Leandro at that time. And we seriously considered it. We were going to pay off our debts, and we were going to be able to buy a house, which we hadn't been able to then. And we talked about it at home, and my son said, "What do you mean? You're going to sell this?" I said, "Well, it'll solve all our money problems." So he said, "You can do that. This is the one place that we get together and we plan and we talk and everything we do together. You can't do that, Mom. It's a unifying factor for all of us." And we didn't sell.
So you came with a mission to be with your kids, and I guess that mission has worked out for you.
Yeah, we've been very blessed with that.
Sukhi, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Kamla.
So that is the story of Sukhi, how with one brawn mixer, she started her business and went on to build a multi-million empire. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again with another show. Until then, goodbye.